Hello, America, and to our friends around the world, welcome. Let's dive into some history. The Great Chicago Fire of 1871, 1871. A quintessential example of how narratives are spun to serve the agendas of the time. And let's talk about Mrs. O'Leary's cow. All right, they say a cow, not just any cow, a cow belonging to one Mrs. O'Leary kicked over a lantern in her barn, sparking the fire that consumed Chicago. Let's think about this critically. First off, the likelihood of a cow having the precision or malice to knock over a lantern in such a catastrophic way, it's like believing in flat earth without the charm of conspiracy. But why pin it on a cow? And why Mrs. O'Leary? Here's where we delve into some political and social commentary of the era. The 1870s were a time of immense social upheaval. You got to remember, this is right before Upton Sinclair's novel about the horrors of meat packaging plants and Theodore Roosevelt's progressive actions on antitrust and such. You had the rise of industrialization, you had massive immigration, and because of that, you had scapegoating culture. Mrs. O'Leary was Irish Catholic when there was a massive anti Irish sentiment. So the narrative is convenient in a way to blame the other, the outsider. It's not unlike how certain groups are blamed today for societal ills without merit. Mask up or you're going to kill grandma, for example. Let's not forget there were multiple accounts of the fire starting in different places, yet the narrative that stuck rather, was the one that was easiest to digest and more importantly to sell. And remember, in order for it to be consumed, there's that emotional component, something that grips you either with a pre-existing emotional attachment or one that sparks that ember, no pun intended, to burn that new ignited emotional passion in you. It's not just about a fire, it's about how history is written by those in power and how myths are created to control the narratives. Look at Southern California. Anytime you look at Gavin Newsom, oh, that's not my fault. Yeah, nothing's ever his fault. You know, but if you believe that, then you get exactly what is happening. So the big question is, was there even a cow? Some say no. Was there even a lantern then? Maybe, not necessarily. I mean, how else are you going to see in the barn? The times I was on a dairy farm, you're there at 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning. It's not exactly broad daylight. The story served its purpose at the time. It gave Chicago a narrative to rebuild a story of negligence rather than systemic failure or the complexities of urban living in the 19th century. And and in no way am I saying that this is a means of the government trying to cover its ass because that is what it's doing. The government is covering its ass either by blaming it on, oh, we were just contemplating the new year and puff puff pass. Yeah, that's everybody's current boogeyman. If it isn't, you know, illegal immigration, which there is some legitimacy to that. There's a lot of video out there demonstrating that, hey, that homeless individual, that sketchy looking individual, is torching a tree or intentionally lighting dry grass. So let's get back to the Chicago fire, though. Here's the takeaway: always question the official story. Don't listen to Bill Burr shaming you about, oh, they did everything right. I mean, who's going to fly a helicopter in 100-mile winds? Well, dumbass, how about you hook up a fucking fire hose to the hydrant that has water in it? Oh, hey, the hydrant's dry. Yeah, now you look like a fucking moron. Look for power dynamics, the social implications. Mrs. O'Leary's cow didn't start the Great Chicago Fire. A society looking for an easy answer did. Remember, in this current era of super information that everybody seems to be either overwhelmed or not interested in, we're no different. We're still creating scapegoats. We're still spinning tales to fit our agenda. So the next time you hear about some definitive cause of a disaster, global warming, climate change, question it, doubt it. Uh, you know, ask that question of, then if we're the fifth largest economy in the world and one of the highest taxed regions of the United States, and it all goes to fund all of this, you know, climate nonsense, then how come you weren't doing actions to prevent this, especially in a region that is notorious for catching fire? So if the government cover story, the media cover story is a bit too neat, a bit too convenient, always remember Mrs. O'Leary's cow, and maybe, just maybe, think twice about who or what is really to blame. Question everything.